Hey folks, have you ever wondered what it took to market an entire train, better known as the American Freedom Train, out to the American public as a whole? Well, I hope you have your favorite cup of coffee, tea, juice, whatever the heck you're drinking these days, because we're going to be sitting down with my good friend Jan Burenga, who enlightened us as to what it took from a marketing standpoint to get the American Freedom Train out there to the entire nation of the United States. And she really has some good insight as to what that looked like. So grab that favorite cup of coffee, tea, juice, whatever the heck you're drinking, and enjoy this interview with Jan. All right, folks, so we are inside of the Blue Comet, one of the observation cars that is now a restaurant. I have here the distinct pleasure of being with Jan Burenga. Jan, thank you for coming here.
My pleasure.
Tell me, okay, we've talked a little bit before, but tell me about first, like your first interaction with Ross Rowland, and how did you get into this thing that they call the American Freedom Train?
Well, I met Ross in my adolescence. He was involved with my family, what is now my family's tourist railroad, the Black River and Western, out of Ringo's, New Jersey, headquartered in Ringo's. And he was one of the directors, and he liked to run the engine. So I was a kid, and I met him. And then lost track. He went off to do bigger and better things, and I grew up. And after college, I heard about the Freedom Train, and I went and applied for a job. And I'd like to think it was my journalism degree that got me the job, but I think it was my railroad background.
And where was this? Where did you go and apply? Like, what physical location did you go to?
I don't remember, but I'm going to guess that I just wrote, we used to write letters back then.
Ooh, remember those?
And I probably sent a letter, and Ross hired me, and I was his assistant for a number of years until the Freedom Train took off, and then I went on to do other things with the Freedom Train Foundation. Right,
so your background is in marketing. Tell me about, the big thing is we can't have the American Freedom Train without the preamble, right? That's, we've said that 100 times on this channel, we'll keep saying it as a reminder to people, but what was the genesis of the preamble? Like, what steps did you take to get to the preamble?
Well, I was Ross's assistant in New York, and then we moved to Lebanon to the station in New Jersey. And, the preamble was really, Ross had bought the Preamble Express, or it was then the spring-made train, and he bought it saying, hey, we'll do this to route them as a preamble to the Freedom Train.
A scout train of sorts.
Right, sort of. And although the route that the preamble took, it was altered later. The route that we took on the preamble sort of mirrored the Freedom Train's journey, but there were many more cities there was 138 display cities, and I think on the preamble you'd have to ask Lou, but I don't think there was nearly that many. But for us, it was a group of young friends, because at that point we had become friends, and we had our own private rail journey around the country. You couldn't beat it.
A four-car train, that went to, you said 138?
No, that was the preamble. Did not go to 138. In fact, I don't know how many. Lou might have that information. The Freedom Train itself, during the bicentennial, displayed in 138 cities. And
so, do you have a favorite highlight from the preamble? Do you have something that really sticks out to you?
Well, no, just that, we did have a recognition of the fact that we were on a private train to ourselves, and the scenery that going down the California coast into Arizona, it was amazing. And we were young people getting this opportunity that used to be reserved for the robber barons.
Yes.
So that was pretty impactful. So the preamble and also the preamble was a few months in duration, whereas the Freedom Train was a year and some months, 21 months, I think. I don't recall, but I think 21 months.
So you, as you crisscross, the American countryside, going to city to city as the preamble, When you got done with the preamble, what happened on the other side of that? Like, there's obviously a break between that and
Well,
the Freedom
and there
Train.
was a change of management, and the headquarters of the Freedom Train Foundation moved to Bailey's Crossroads, Virginia.
Okay.
And I worked out of that for a while until the Freedom Train, when I became an advanced person and I went ahead of the train to various cities I was assigned.
Did you take a train there, or did you like drive? How did you
No,
get
we
from
would
city
fly.
to city? You would fly, okay.
Generally.
Okay.
I mean, I had a couple of times where my cities were back to back, so I would drive between them. But
Okay.
yeah, we would fly from one city to the next, usually about 4 to 6 weeks ahead of the Freedom Train display.
Okay.
And we would set things up in that city and work with bicentennial committees. Our favorite as marketing people was when we were hosted by media,
Oh,
because it was so much easier to promote
Right.
when you had a TV station behind you. But yeah, it was quite an experience.
So the whole marketing journey, like, were you the sole person that did all
Oh no,
that,
there
or
was
were-
about, I'm going to say about a dozen of us. I'm
dozen
not
of you,
sure.
okay.
And we would leapfrog one another.
Okay.
So when I got done, I would leapfrog ahead of my colleagues and
Right.
to another city that was 4 to 6 weeks away from a display.
Okay.
And after a while, I got assigned major markets because
Give me
I
an
was,
example, like what's a major
Seattle
market?
or
Seattle, okay.
yeah,
Chicago,
San Jose,
big,
yeah,
big cities.
right,
Okay.
big
Okay.
cities, because I was fairly good at it.
There's no shame in, you know.
Yeah, well, but so yeah, we leapfrog one another,
Okay.
and because we were all young people and this was an adventure, if we had weekends, we would meet in the best city
Okay.
to party.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
And then, go back to our markets. And it was a wonderful experience, especially if I was I had a journalism degree, and for my future career, it taught me so much about how to promote anything.
Wow. Okay.
Because we were going into a market and we were promoting something that was never seen before and would never be seen again. And we had to educate the public, hey, this is something you should come see.
Right.
So it was...
And you interacted with like community leaders and
Correct.
politicians also. What was that like?
It depends on the city and it depends on the organization. Like many of them had bicentennial commissions. Some
Okay.
were more well organized than others.
Okay.
One of my favorites was Tempe, Arizona, out in Phoenix, because
Why's
the
that?
bicentennial chairman was a former governor, and he was a statesman, and he wasn't a politician, he was
Okay,
a statesman.
a true statesman.
Yeah, and he and I corresponded long after the Freedom Train was
very
over.
good.
he was wonderful. And they were very well organized, so it was a pleasure to set things up there. And it was on the, I had a reputation of getting the worst sites. You know, railroad sidings and railroad yards are not known for their beauty.
Most likely
Generally.
not. Yeah, generally speaking,
And so
yeah.
I would get some real doozies. But this
the
one,
worst?
well,
If you want to tell us on camera, that's okay if you don't.
well, the most challenging
Ah, yes.
was Worcester, Massachusetts, my very first city, because
okay.
it was on Norton Company's industrial lot.
Oh.
But the exit to the train was, I don't know, 50 feet off the ground, so we had to build a ramp that was by OSHA standards. We called it the Pinball Wizard because it had to be by OSHA standards. And one Saturday, because I didn't know it was impossible, I got the local carpenters union to volunteer their time and come out and build this ramp.
Wow.
And it was an amazing thing. I think I have pictures of it somewhere, but of
Yeah.
course they're slides, they're not digital.
But you were able, but you also had to do work like that, where you show up to a place and you look around and you go, okay, what obstacles am I
Yes.
looking at? How do I overcome these obstacles? But yet I still
They
have to
weren't always
sew.
that dramatic.
Right, of course.
And
right.
so then when we got to Tempe, much later, a year later,
Yeah.
I had a site that was on the Arizona State University, and it was right on their campus, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I had a beautiful site. And I had a wonderful committee, so, that was a highlight. But I think Lou asked me what was my favorite. I had, every one of them was my favorite, but for different reasons.
Right.
You know, like I would have wonderful people that I got to meet and live with, so to speak, for 6 weeks. It was a real great experience.
And you, like let's go back to the preamble, like, did you basically lived on the train?
No, we had hotels.
You had
in
hotels, okay.
Yeah, we had hotels in every city. I don't remember. I guess there might have been people that slept on the preamble. The engine crew, maybe. I don't.
Right.
Yes, they did, but we didn't. We had hotels, so it was like a extended vacation. Only it was work.
But it was really long. I mean, you're talking the preamble, it was 74, right? And then you had the Freedom Train, 75, 76. So
right.
You were on the road for
I was.
3 years?
Yes.
Almost?
Yes.
If not a little bit more.
Yeah, I was.
And what was the hardest part of that? Just bouncing from city
There
to
wasn't
city?
really, I thought I was going to miss all my friends and all that was happening at home.
Right.
But then I would come home and realize that nothing much had changed. And then after a while, you get addicted to the road.
Right.
It's like, where am I going next?
Yeah.
Staying in one place didn't seem so fabulous anymore.
Right. And I'm really curious, what was your reaction when it's the end of 76 and the Freedom Train has come to an end? Like, what were your thoughts, your feelings about that?
I got to get a job.
That was first and foremost.
Yeah,
right?
I had to get a job then, a real job.
But what emotional state were you in? When this thing that you just helped to pull off, as I call it, the greatest railroad show on earth.
Yeah, it was.
Helped,
It was
helped
really.
to pull off. Like, you had to have been.
Well, I was young. It was the next adventure was awaiting. I do remember that in Miami, the last stop, and that was mine, and it was an honor they gave to me because I was called the oldest employee. They didn't mean by age, but I had been with it the longest.
Right.
And so I was given that. And the Prime Minister, I think, of the Bahamas came on board, and so I personally took him around.
Right.
I had ulterior motives. He said, so what are you going to do after it's over? And I said, well, I'm hoping to come visit your lovely islands. And he said, well, you'll have to come as our guest. Oh, okay.
Well, fantastic. I might as well, right? Yes,
right.
I might as well.
So I did go to the Bahamas for, a week or two. And
Good
then,
for you.
Yeah, and
Good
then
for
I went
you.
back up into New Jersey, where I was from, and looked for work.
And then, have you kept in contact with a lot of the Freedom, the American
A
Freedom Train
few,
people? Yeah.
not a lot, but a few. Sometimes we don't see each other for years on end, but we do communicate. And now with social media, it's so much easier.
Yeah, it's all over the
So we
place,
can keep track of each other. And
So if you were to pick out one of the biggest highlight for you out of that whole 3 years, right?
Oh,
give us
boy.
something that really, something that just sticks out.
Oh gosh,
Yes, notes are a good thing.
I don't know. I have so many little things, Seattle was wonderful. It rained a lot, but the British Columbia government sent their steam engine down to meet ours next to
Did they
the
really?
Kingdom.
That's a
something.
once in a lifetime.
Yeah,
That's
that was
neat.
really something. In Kansas City, it was Kansas City, Kansas that we were in, but that was memorable because Ross threw a surprise birthday party for me in Kansas City. I didn't know. It was like a dozen people, and I didn't know it was going to happen, and that was nice.
That's very sweet of you.
Yeah, it was really good. Miami, of course. Miami being the final stop, and Marjorie, the late Marjorie Singer, was my publicist, and she and I came up with a TV promotion. Guess how many people will have gone through the Freedom Train by the time it closes on December 31st, 1976? Great idea.
Yeah.
We thought we'd know days before.
Right.
We got thousands of entries, and we were counting tickets till the very last minute to figure out who the winner was because, there were people that said 3 billion, and that was a little over.
Yeah.
But, there were a lot that were within striking distance, so it wasn't as easy a slam dunk as we thought it would be. That was great.
What was the total number off the top of your head? Do you know what the total number? Just a rough number.
I don't. You can ask the group.
Okay.
I don't know.
Millions.
I know that they
Millions.
guessed that, millions. 7 million, I want to say, bought tickets,
Right.
and 25 million we estimated saw it from trackside.
Wow.
As it went through towns. But
Yeah.
I'm not positive of those numbers, so don't
Yeah.
quote me on that. San Jose, I mean, there are so many highlights. I can't even begin to tell you. There was a railroad guy in Peoria, Illinois, and I'll never forget, I was looking at where they were going to place the train. It was right downtown, and I said, well, the consist should go here, and he started to laugh, and I said, what's so funny? And he said, oh, it's not funny. It just sounds so funny coming from you, honey.
Wow.
We weren't used to a lot of women doing that. So that was
good
fun.
for you, though.
I remember his name, so I won't say it, but I remember. Trying to remember. There were a lot of highlights, and like I said, every town was my favorite for a different reason.
Right, and I assume even these days you remember it very fondly.
Very fondly, very fondly. It was a once in a lifetime experience, not just for the people that went through it, but for those of us who worked on it.
Well,
definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing
very
your story
welcome.
with me.
You're very welcome.
You are just a wealth of knowledge, and I cannot thank you enough for sitting here and taking your time with us. This is amazing.
Not a problem.
So, folks, stay tuned. We have plenty more of these interviews coming your way with these people that really formed history. So, stay tuned.